Channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this two-piece. So the first thing you're going to do is just to um so I'm going to be tracing it on a pattern paper because this is a suggestion from someone. So I'm trying to get through all the videos that people sent to me. Guys, please bear with me. I'm just trying to get through everybody that sent me. You know, this Christmas is coming. Tell us are getting orders. So just bear with me because I can't explain everything on a fabric. I can't wear everything I show you guys. So I will just try to explain everybody's suggestion on a fabric, like on a small piece of fabric, but try as much as possible to get the message across. So that's basically it. So guys, basically the first part of it is the top, which all you have to do is just to draw your basic body. So I'm going to imagine that this is your fabric, right? Fold it into two. Go ahead, inside your shoulder to your waist, right? The length of the top to be, but also remember to add about 1 inch at the bottom so that you can be able to fold it, because if you notice at the bottom it has elastic. So it depends on you, the casing you want your elastic to be. So you can do, maybe you want the top to be your shoulder to your half length is 16, so you might go ahead and add half an inch to join the shoulder part, and then you also add about, let's say 1.5, depending on the size of elastic, because remember you're still going to be folding the edge to be able to pass your elastic casing. So that's basically it. Or the, I don't know, I think you can also use elastic or pass rope at the same time. So you use the two of them just to bring it together, or you can just use the casing for just a you just use the casing for just the rope that they tied at the back instead of passing elastic. It depends on you what you can do, the two, or you can just do one. So after that, you just go ahead and draw your basic body. So let's say this is my length here. I'm just going to go ahead and draw the basic bodies. So guys, after that, I'm going to go ahead and divide the shoulder measurement and insert it here. And then I'm going to come down here and mark the just divide your shoulder. So guys, just follow the steps. So after this, now you folded your fabric into two. The fold is going to basically be your bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch. So you folded it into two. The next thing you're going to do is to go ahead and mark your neckline divided by 2. Mark that here, and then you're also going to come down here 1 inch of shoulder slope, and then insert the armhole you're working with divided by 2, and then you're going to go ahead and mark that, right? So you're going to go ahead guys, this is going to just be an illustration because I have so many people that sent me tutorials they want to see, and I can't get you everybody's suggestion. So I'm going to try to explain it in a miniature version, but just know that all you have to insert here is just your measurements, right? So you're going to go ahead and mark this down here, and then I'm going to come in here, insert your neckline. Normally just use 3 inches of neckline because you don't want to you mark 3 inches from here, and then connect that 1 inch of shoulder slope to this point. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead and also come down here from your neckline by 3 inches. Just your basic bodies, come down here by 3 inches. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and divide the bust measurement by 4, and then add 1 inch of sewing allowance like I told you guys before. I'm going to bring down that same measurement here. So I'm going to bring it down here. Guys, as I'm looking at this picture now, I'm seeing that her own didn't really come down to her waist, or just know that all you're using here is the length you want this top to be, right? The length you want it to be. So I'm going to also bring down the same measurement I have at the bust here, because I'm not going to be, this top doesn't need any darting. All it needs is just your the top doesn't need darting. All it needs is just the casing for the elastic. That's what will put the bottom part together. It doesn't need darting at the waist, because normally you would put in a dart here. So after that, you're just going to go ahead and, so guys, remember to also mark halfway through your armhole for the front panel, and then come in here by half an inch, connect it with a curve, and then a straight line above, right? So just your basic bodies. I'm also going to insert a video on how to mark your basic bodies. So guys, once you've marked that here, all you have to do now is just to go ahead and cut this piece out. But you can even cut out your front and your back bodies at the same time, guys. You can, as you folded your fabric now, you can cut exactly the same thing for the back, except for the back your armhole is going to, you're not going to have this armhole, you're going to use this front one. And then for the back neckline, you can just, you see how her back neckline is. So for the back neckline, you're going to just do 1 inch of back neckline. So guys, once you've cut this out, all you have to do is to cut the neckline out, the 3 inches of back front neckline, because remember this is the front piece here. And then another difference is that you're going to also go ahead and cut out this armhole, because remember the armhole in front is always deeper than the one at the back, right? Once you've done this, the next thing you're going to do is for the back, you're going to go ahead and cut out that 1 inch that you used for the back neckline. Guys, at this point you can go ahead, and it depends on the space you want to have at the back panel. Remember, like I said, you're going to just trace exactly what you have in front. Like if I did this on my fabric, I'm just tracing exactly the same thing. There's no difference here. I use this one, this front one, the first one we did, I went back in and traced out everything else, and then once I separated it, I cut out the armhole here, cut 3 inches of neckline, 1 inch for the back neckline, but every other thing still stays the same. So now the next thing we have to do is just to go ahead. It depends on you, the back you want to use. You can just go ahead and separate this back panel, cut it open from the edge here to the top, and then all you have to do is just to fold it. If you don't want to have a lot of space in between, right, you can just go ahead and fold away, sew down 1 inch on this side of your back and then 1 inch on this side of your back. If you don't want, like, use it as the fold for the center back. If you don't want, because as you can see, we didn't use any seam allowance here because the back of this top is open, so you can just go ahead and fold away 1 inch away, like at the center back. Or another thing you can do is just to go ahead and cut out maybe 1 inch and still fold it. It depends on the type of space you want to have in between. What I mean is, you can go ahead the way the top is now. Remember, you cut exactly the front and the back, right? And this part is joined together. You can go ahead and chip off like 1 inch on your fabric this way, cut out 1 inch exactly like this, cut it off, and then still fold the cloth on itself. It depends on you, but just know that the more you cut out or the more you fold, the more opening that you have at the center of the back, right? So if you don't want it that way, just fold away 1 inch, and then you know you just have 2 inches gap in between the back. So once you've done that, all you have to do next is just to take the top, join the shoulder to the shoulder of this to the shoulder of this, and then like this is the back, this is my front, right? I'm going to take the back, join it on this side to the shoulder here, and then join this one on this side to the shoulder here. You see the 2 inches gap I have here. So the next thing you're going to do is to take bias and run around the neckline. I already have a video on how to run bias. Use bias to run the neckline. Once you finish that, you're going to have, and then you attach 2 strings here, right? Use your fabric to attach 2 strings at the edge, and then that will be the neckline. And then for the bottom, all you have to do is, once you join the shoulder to shoulder, you're going to go ahead and insert the sleeve. I'm going to show you guys how to cut the sleeve soon, and then close up the side. The next step now is just to fold this bottom part here. Like, you're going to fold it in a continuous stitch, right? And then come to this side, fold it also going towards the back, right? By then you've already folded this side, right? You're going to fold everything like you're on your sewing machine now, right? And then this side of the top, you're joining everything together, right? You're joining everything, and then you're folding it this way. And once you're done, it depends on you what you want to use. You can use the tool, like I said before. You can use your elastic, you can use your rope, anyone you're using. Just start from one side of the back and pass it through the inside of this casing that you've made here, all the way to the other end of it, and then you pull everything together. And then the rope at the top is tying, and then the one at the bottom is also tying. So that's basically how to make the top. So now let's go ahead and cut the sleeve. The sleeve is just basically a puffy sleeve, but a slightly exaggerated puffy sleeve. So guys, the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and mark our sleeve. So the next thing you're going to do is, depends on you. So you're going to come down so first thing, fold your fabric into 2 again. Make sure you have your armhole divided by 2 on this same line. Like, the width you're going to use to fold it is your armhole divided by 2 plus like extra, let's say, because it's not really exaggerated, so you're going to add maybe extra like 2 inches to it. So let's say your armhole divided by 2 is 9, add extra 2 inches to it, that's going to be 11. So the fold here is going to be 11 inches of width. And then the sleeve length, let's say you want the sleeve length to be 10 inches, go ahead and add like extra, let's say 3 or 4 inches to it, because you need a casing for the elastic, and then you need the top part to make the puffiness, right? So it depends on you. So you're going to come down at the top 1 inch for the puffy part, the part that you're going to use for that puffiness, and then you're going to mark that extra 2 inches that you added. So that is it. So this is the 1 inch that we added, and then this is the 2 inches that we added to the width, right? Add 1 inch at the top for the side, 2 inches at the center of the sleeve, and then the next thing you're supposed to add now is the length. So this is the length of my sleeve here, but I still need extra, which is for the casing. And then when you're making a puffy sleeve, you always have to add, like, let's say 1.5 to it, because of you need it to drape, so that when you pull up the puffiness, it drapes down, right? So let's say you add extra 3 inches here, 1.5 of casing and 1.5 for the extra, right? So in total, this is the length of my sleeve. So let me say it again. To the length of my sleeve, I added 1 inch for the top of the sleeve for the puffiness, right? 1 inch here, and then the normal length of my sleeve, what I want to have in total when I'm done, which is like, let's say 10 inches here, and then to that 10 inches I also added 3 inches, which is 1.5 for the casing of my elastic, and then 1.5 for the length to help give it that puffiness, right? So that's the total length I have here. So let's say I want my sleeve to be 10 inches. In total, what I have here is about 14, 3 at the bottom, 1 inch at the top, and then the width here is plus extra 2 inches. After that, come down 4 inches. After you've marked that 1 inch, come down 4 inches here, and then in between this line, draw in your basic sleeve. So connect this line to this point, and then find halfway through this line, which is somewhere here for me, give it a curve below here, and then a curve before it. Normally on a basic sleeve you give it a curve above like this, but what you're going to do is just take that curve to the top. This is how you make an exaggerated puffy sleeve, and don't cut any other thing here. Just leave the sleeve straight like this. I'm going to insert a detailed tutorial on everything. I'm going to link it in the comment section, how to make an exaggerated puffy sleeve, how to make like anything that you need for this particular tutorial, in-depth tutorial on it, maybe a basic bodice. I'm also going to insert that here. So the next thing you're going to do is just to cut this sleeve out, right, like this, and then cut it out. So guys, this is the sleeve now, right? All I have to do is to take it and go to this sewing machine, make my casing, pass my elastic through it to help pull it together, and then I'm going to now take it and join it to this part of the sleeve, right? And that's basically how you make the top part. So now let's move over to the skirt part of this tutorial. Moving over to the skirt, and guys, remember, when you're making the strap, make it long enough to come to the front. You see how she tied her own towards the front and then tied it back towards the back. So just make the bottom casing rope that you're using, make it long enough to wrap around you like that. So now moving over to the skirt. The skirt is just a half circle skirt, so it depends on you. You can do it 2 ways here, guys. You can use elastic or you can use zip. This one here, use the elastic. So let me go through how to use elastic. If you want to use elastic, all you have to do is use your hip measurement divided by 3.14. 3.14 is for everybody, no matter the size and measurement. This is the constant to make a half circle skirt. I already have a video on how to make a half circle skirt. So let's say the waist, the hip I'm working with here is 40 inches or 42. I'm just going to divide it by 3.14. The hip I'm working with is 40. I'm going to just divide it by 3.14. That 3.14, I'm going to just use it as whatever I get. I'm going to use it as the measurement I'm using to cut my skirt. If you want to use, this is for elastic. This is for elastic. If you want to use zip, you can use your waist measurement divided by 30. Sorry, your waist measurement, sorry. If you want to use zip and your waist, let's say your waist is 30, all you have to do is just add extra like 6 inches to that. 6 inches because first, this you need pockets, because this style has a pocket. If you're using the one for elastic, your hip can always contain the seam allowances for you to be able to add these pockets, right? Because it's elastic at the waist, your hip can always contain you cutting out all that seam allowance from the 2 sides to be able to insert this pocket. But if you're using a zip on the waist, and you're cutting this circle, it's going to be exactly what your waist measurement is, right? So what you're going to do is, let's say the waist I'm working with is 30 inches, right? What I'm going to do is to add extra 2 inches to it, because so guys, this is what it normally looks like when we are cutting a circle skirt. You remember, right? You keep your fabric this way and then put your tape at this tip here, and then you place it and insert the first measurement you get, and then insert the second measurement you get, right? This is what it normally looks like when we are cutting a skirt. So let's say now I'm cutting it with my hip measurement. All I have to do is I've cut out the waist part, right? All I have to do is just to split this part open. I use my hip measurement divided by 3.4 to get the opening here. So definitely this part here is always the part that is going to your waist, right? This is the edge of the skirt. So definitely this part that is my waist now, I need to use I don't need to add any seam allowance here. If I want to add pocket, all I have, because this part is already, let's say is 40, that is my hip, right? And my waist is 30. I already have extra 10 inches here, so I don't need to add any zip any allowance here, since it's elastic that I'm using, and I'm going to be using my pocket here. I can just split this open here and insert pockets on the two sides, right? And then just use make a casing and then pass my elastic through it, and it will not affect my measurements at all. I can wear it from the top, from my head down, and pull it down, and it will still fit perfectly. But if I'm going to use a zipper, I need to consider the parts that I need to cut open, starting with, let's say this is going to be the center back for my zip. Let's say there's going to be a zipper here, right? There's going to be a zip on this side, so that's already 2 inches, because your zip comes into 2 sides for the zip, right? So let's say I cut out the waist part now. I just want to explain to you guys why you need to add 6 inches here. So this part now, normally if you don't want to use zip, if you want to just use zip, and you don't want pocket, all you have to do is just use your waist measurement, add 2 inches to it, and then divide it by 3.14, because the 2 inches is just for 1 inch of this side of zip, 1 inch of this side of zip, and then you put your band and your skirt is ready, right? There's no pockets. But if I want to add pocket, I need to consider again extra 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on this side, right? Which is one side, the back side of my pocket, the front side of my pocket, the back side of the pocket, the front side of the pocket, and then also plus the 2 for the back of the zip, right? Because you still need to sew this thing close. Because if, let's say there's going to be a pocket on this side and there's going to be a pocket on this side, then I need to add 6 inches to my waist measurement when adding. So 1 inch from the front. So this is the front panel. This side of this is going to be the side for the side for the pockets, right? So I need 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and then I also need another 1 inch coming from the back of this side, and then 1 inch on this back side, right? And then I also need another 1 inch on this side, 1 inch in front here to join the pocket, and then I need 2 inches for the back. So that's why you need to add 2 inches for the zip. That's why you need to add 6 inches to it if you want to cut it on your, using a zipper. You want your skirt to have a zip, but the one on the thumbnail, just use your waist measurement, your hip measurement divided by 3.14. Whatever you get now is what we are going to use to cut the skirt. So guys, all I have to do now is just to show you guys on the fabric what it would look like if I was cutting the skirt. So that first measurement I just explained to you guys, all these things now, whatever you get, depending on if you're using zip or elastic, let's say whatever you get, once you add that 6 inches, let's say you decided to use zip plus pockets, is this first one, and then you decided to add that 6 inches. So whatever you get, this 36 now, you're going to divide it by 3.14. Whatever you get, let's say you get 9. I'm not sure what you would get, but let's say you get 9. That 9 inches is now going to be the first measurement you insert here. So guys, that 9 inches is the first measurement I'm going to add here. So you're going to take your tape and mark 9 inches, 9 inches, 9 inches, 9 inches. That's from this point all the way, and just make a circle. That's going to be the first circle, which is going to be the waist, right? Remember how we cut it on that paper? It's going to look exactly like that. And then the second measurement you're going to insert now is going to be your length of your skirt. So let's say the length of my skirt is going to be 20. Right, 20, but I know it's going to be longer than that because this is a midi skirt, so it should be maybe around 25 or so. And then you're going to add your seam allowance, 1 inch of folding the rough edge and half an inch of joining this part to it, right? So that's, let's say whatever you get now, right, you're going to mark that. So let's say in total mine is 21 plus my seam allowance. Then I'm going to take up my tape again and add this 9 inches that I marked here to that 21. So that's going to be about 30 inches in total. So I'm going to take my tape and then mark 30 inches all over like this, from this point to that 30 inches all over like this. And let's say I make another circle that looks like this. So this is going to be the bottom of my skirt now, you see. So all I have to do is just to cut this part out, and then you can split it in form of how you want this. Then this side is going to be my zipper, and then I'm going to split somewhere here to insert my pocket, and that's basically how you make this skirt. And then the next thing is just to cut a folded fabric like this, and use it as your band. Wrap it, sew it on top of your skirt, and then insert the zip. Everything I have to say. And if you have any question, please link it in the comment section. And please guys, check, you will see that I will link every tutorial, everything that has to do with this tutorial that is already cut on a fabric. I will link it so that it's in case everything I said here didn't make sense, those small clips of other tutorials can help you understand it better. And thank you guys so much for your time, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.